was a beautiful day.
It was a nice day. Of course, let's go ahead and look at the temperatures and watch this. You might be thinking with all the cloud cover and even a slight threat for rain that we should be in maybe the high 50s to 60s, but we have an offshore flow. So if it was bright, sunny and blue out, you look at these temperatures and think that makes sense. But we did have sort of like I said at the beginning of the show, kind of a double thing happening in our atmosphere at the upper levels and the lower levels. So a lot of places with the offshore flow had really nice temperatures today, starting out cool, but then by the afternoon into the high 60s, even some mid 70s. And there's the latest radar. Those echoes are coming from probably really high elevations. So that means we can't rule out the chance completely that we might get a sprinkle or two through. But for the most part, it looks like, again, we're extremely dry. I'll show you that in just a second. Look at the temperatures into the 60s for the most part, a few high 50s. Our lows overnight with the cloud cover and the combination of a slight offshore flow will probably be pretty nice as well. Very calm winds right now, but we will start to see the arrows be more productive out of this direction off from the map toward the ocean, so the land toward the sea, and that is basically an offshore flow. And then again, remember what we said, talked about the cloud cover and at times looking threatening, some virga rainfall falling out where it looks like a veil coming out of the clouds. Look at the lower levels, bone dry for the most part, and extremely dry in those areas where you get the Santa Ana or the Santa Lucia, so Ventura, Oxnard, back up toward maybe San Luis Obispo, really just reduced, Santa Ynez, reduced humidities, translating into a very dry atmosphere. Now, look at the East Coast here. I'm going to show this because I know it's a travel weekend. A lot of bone-chilling cold temperatures coming out of Canada, and then you get what is known as lake effect snow, which is basically that cold air is going over relatively much warmer water. The lakes are cold, but they're not frozen, and that means you get snow on the south end of Lake Superior, Michigan. You get it on the eastern side, and anywhere you have the eastern sides of these lakes where the winds are blowing out of the west. Look at areas like Buffalo. You go just a few miles, maybe farther east of that, and they have almost nothing happening. But you get right on those lake edges, and they're looking at multiple feet of snow. So here we'll go. Look, this is all I could find as far as any delay times, and it looks like Detroit and Newark were the only ones so far. Maybe by tomorrow night, let's hope not, you might see more delays, of course, being very busy. And of course, now we have the messy weather, Ohio River Valley and up into the East Coast, and even down in the deep south, they're dealing with some really cold temperatures. There's our little storm system right there. Really no harm, no foul to anyone. It's just going to kind of meander out there. Again, maybe a sprinkle, but we're not really expecting that. So let's go ahead and look at the futurecast, and just mid and upper level clouds over the next couple of days. It will start to get a little clearer as we head into maybe Monday or maybe even late Sunday going into Monday. Now we'll go ahead and look at the wind. Really nothing to talk about too strong out of the north, maybe a little northwest at times, but more or less out of the northeast as we head into the overnights and late early morning hours. So that offshore flow means marine layer is not really going to be much of a deal, but there's the high clouds. Now watch, we'll see it come back into play by about maybe Monday or so, or Tuesday. That's all high cloudiness. And then right there over my shoulder, Monterey Bay, and then southward, we start to see just a bit more of the fog trying to knock on the door for maybe the central coast. 50s and 60s for the morning hours. Look at that. And boy, really just a nice day out there. Look at that for tomorrow morning. 50s and 60s. And then by the afternoon, we go into the 60s and 70s, and that will be the pattern as we head into the beginning of December. Now, a quick wide shot. Really not much to talk about over the next few days. High pressure holds firm. It'll be a little bit of a dirty high pressure, meaning allowing some cloud cover at times. But for the most part, we don't really see anything threatening until maybe late next weekend. All right, there's your overnight lows into the highs. And again, another nice mild day with breezy conditions for the late night and morning hours out of the northeast. And again, that is an offshore flow, meaning that we don't really get overly cold with those types of winds. Sometimes we do, but for the most part, they tend to warm the atmosphere. And that's exactly what we're expecting as we head into our first day of December. So boy, look at that, the 74s for Camarillo and Santa Paula. Surf, good news here, has been a little small and out of the south. Now we're expecting a northwest swell, which might get up overhead on some of our more exposed northwest facing beaches. And there's your trends all week long. Very quiet weather-wise, sunny and mild, a little cooler here one day, and then the next day we go right back up to the high 60s and low 70s. So it looks like a great way to start December. We'll be right back.